Welcome to the In My 30s podcast with Caroline Spence. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here. Good to see you.
You too. So, yeah, how long has it been?
I was like, well, I've probably known you for close to 10 years. Is probably when we met.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. 2020 kind of threw off my timeline, but it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And we both had a lot happen, I think, since COVID. I feel like with a lot of people, I have to check in again because COVID sort of put us all in separate places. And then it was where did everyone go? I used to go out a lot, to shows and stuff. And I feel like post COVID, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. It's different. I think we all, first of all, we're all in our 30s, as one might mention.
Yeah.
And I think it's different. I feel like I skipped over the last couple of years of my 20s and just went sort of straight into, I don't know, a chiller time.
Yeah. Your life has completely changed in a lot of ways. You're married. You have a son.
I do.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
It's still insane to think about.
That is insane. And I do, I'm still single and childless, but I'm it all changes like that.
It does.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about motherhood and doing the artist thing and all that. But the thing that brought you here today was I saw a Facebook post of yours that I thought was so interesting. I think it was on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You had said, and correct me if I get this wrong, you had said something like you were signed to a major label and had 50 million streams, but you hadn't seen any royalties from that. And now you're owning your work. And obviously, it's more fulfilling for you to own your work and be able to make a living off your music. So is that kind of the right?
Yeah. I just had gotten my first kind of, quarterly payment from my distributor. And it wasn't anything earth shattering, but I was like, oh my gosh, I've actually never received a payment from my music except for physical merchandise in 5 years.
Wow.
And while I was signed, it was streamed close to 100 million times.
100 million times, wow.
And a lot of times it was stuff that I kind of had to fight tooth and nail to get out that ended up making them a lot of money. But the way that a lot of label deals are structured is that you don't make it back dollar for dollar. It's penny to a dollar. So they're making a lot. And then I'm only credited a small amount. So it just makes it so hard for artists who aren't selling tons of physical merchandise, which nobody is.
Yeah.
Even my husband works in the physical music industry, and he's like, yeah, it doesn't take a lot to chart these days. So it's just no one's selling a ton, but these label deals are sort of still built around that. So anyway, not to get into all that, but it's just really hard to get money into your account if you are in a deal where someone owns your masters or license your masters and recoupment. So it felt like I was going to say small victory, but no, it was it felt like a victory to be oh my gosh, I can imagine a way in which this is my job, not just in practice, but my job in the financial structure of my family again, because it was before I was signed. And then it just sort of was very much based on touring, which obviously changed a lot in the last 5 years. So
yes.
Yeah.
So going into that deal, I have so many questions because I love to understand the business because I had my own label that I started with somebody. We parted ways. Even now I'm would I take a deal? Because I have certain goals that almost require a deal.
Sure.
But then it's there is something in me, and I'm saying my prayers and I'm please don't let me stand in my own way. That's the one thing I don't want to do.
Oh gosh, that's a great prayer.
But I also love owning my music. Even my little, I don't make a ton of royalties, but certain months it's more than others. And I love seeing, I download the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I'm where did it come from?
I
just love it.
You like being a business owner. I think that's something I'm with the first 2 records I released by myself, the third, I made 3 records on my own, and I liked the head scratching. I liked the spreadsheets, but I don't think I realized how much I liked that because it's also hard and exhausting. And you when you're kind of a team of one, you just are oh, I wish I had someone else to bounce ideas off of and whatever. And so when I signed that deal, I was so ready to take off the dozen or so hats that I was wearing. But now that I'm wearing those hats again, and I do have a management team that I feel are wearing a lot of those hats, but we share them. Like, it's not like they took them from me. It's just like, I realize how much I like that stuff. Like, I kind of like being in business for myself, with myself. Like, there's something in my personality where like I really thrive in that. Yeah. So I think that that's another thing is like, yeah, if you're signed to someone whose job it is to be that person, like you don't really get to participate in that way. And it can be hard.
Yeah. And I don't think that it's because before we started, I mentioned that I was listening to a podcast where you were talking about how the music is a spiritual thing for you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like owning your work, it's kind of in line with your work being a spiritual thing to you because it's so close to you that it's like, how could I give this to someone? That's how I feel. Yeah. And it's not necessarily about like the royalties being whatever they are. Yeah. It's more about I spend almost every hour of my life thinking about this, working on it. And I'm just going to like give it to somebody else and they're going to own it. Like that to me is like, that's like giving away a child in a way.
And I think when I made that decision, I think I was just a little bit of a more trusting person than perhaps I should have been. And I think it really came from like first of all, my faith in people. Like I will never not give anyone the benefit of the doubt, but also like my faith in myself that I was like a worthy cause for them to be, joining in on. And I was so aligned with that like spiritual stuff of like, I got a million records in me. It's going to be great, and I do. And that's like, and for them to sort of feel like that like spiritual practice and the fact that I'm like delivering good art is just not going to be enough. Like, I just didn't want to be in a relationship that like tried to put out that light in me. And that ultimately was like kind of what happened was that the other voices in the room kind of got into that spiritual practice, not in a way where I was like writing for them or anything, but just like the fear of criticism or the fear of like rejection or like spending all this time working on this thing or like having a really good idea of a way to get it out in the world and then it being met with a no because of like the marketing budget or something that had nothing to do with like my vision. Like it just really got into that practice. And I'm still kind of working to rebuild that. I feel like right now co-writing's helping because it feels like a safe space to get in there with like some trusted friends. But like it's been a minute since I've like really got in the zone. Yeah.
It's funny. It's like I felt like I had the reins with the label that I had, but I still was answering to someone. And so I felt the same way where it was like I started to write songs in a different way. I wasn't doing it like the songs that I loved. The one in particular was like taboo to my business partner. And so it does get tricky when you have like a lot of people involved in deciding like how to market it. And I didn't I think it's awesome that you did the label thing, by the way.
I have no regrets. I'm so glad. I knew exactly why I did it, what I wanted from it. Like I have no regrets. And I feel like when I think about where my life is now, it feels very clear to me that I maybe had to go through that to feel confident choosing the independent route right now. Because it feels like, if that's the target, to settle for anything less might be a failure or whatever. But I've been a level up and I'm just not sure that is where I'm going to find my success.
Right.
Because of the parameters that it requires and what that does to me as like a person and an artist. So for me, I'm like that level down or whatever. Like, I think that feels like more successful to me because I can see things to completion.
Yeah. I think I like also feeling like the one fan at a time thing or just really focusing on like who is listening and like knowing those people because I feel like streams, you can't track anybody really who's streaming music except for like some demographics that Spotify gives you. But I don't know. It just, there is a lot to like about being independent, I think. Yeah. I mean, sometimes obviously it's harder for obvious reasons, budget wise and how am I going to pay for this record?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, for me right now, it's like the right thing. But I just love that you were so transparent about it because I feel like people don't really talk about business.
It took me a while because there was that like deep programming of like, that's a failure. And even though I had like an option left on my deal, and I initiated like that conversation of wanting to leave.
Right, so I wanted to ask you that. Like, what led to that?
Like, I mean, they weren't fighting for me to stay, so who knows what would have happened. But it felt like there were some logistical things that were getting in the way of some like positive stuff in my career. Like, for example, I won't go into it, but like clearing a song that I wrote for Sync that was like a split master with a producer, which is something I'm like, I have a publishing deal, I write all the time, and they were like holding that up because there wasn't like a box to tick that was clear. So it was things like that where I'm like, this is an objectively positive thing, and yet like it's
overly complicated.
It's overly complicated, and I don't feel like it doesn't feel like a priority to you when it's like a big career goal of mine.
Yeah.
So ultimately, a situation kind of like that, and that happened a couple times. It was just like, I don't think it's a fit because you guys aren't seeing a way to incorporate this and support this.
Yeah.
And we can't have you inhibiting it. So that was what it was for me, where I was like, this is a huge goal to be able to freely write and,
Yeah.
So that was a big part of it. And then also just the culmination of a few things over there. And so they let me go out of my last option. And I immediately felt relief. Like, I just was like, I didn't realize like how unsafe like making things had become, because all of a sudden I was writing a ton, and I went into the studio. I mean, we started the record I put out like 2 months after that deal ended. Like, I was like, I got it. I was like, I have the vision. Like, it just was very freeing for me. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, so can we back up for a second? I'm curious, like, how, when you got into that deal, and we can edit anything, we don't have to include anything, but I am curious, like, how does that start? So they give you an advance, and then you record, you release the album, they're working on it, marketing it with your management team, etc. Are you opening for a lot of people at that time?
So when I got signed, I actually had a completed record. So Mint Condition, I'd already completed. Emmylou was already on the record. A lot of people like to give credit to Rounder for that, but it was my producer and I. And so they remixed stuff and helped with the artwork and, or, whatever design. But like, that record was already done and paid for. So it was almost like paying myself back.
Got it.
So that was nice. And then my second record we did from the ground up. So yeah, they had in-house publicist, in-house radio, in-house design, but also like you kind of had to use those people. I mean, for the most part, they were great options, and like, it's their full-time job. So, but I found, especially on the creative front, that it was really limiting because, like, there's so many incredible visual artists and graphic designers, and like in my particular friend group that I could just send something to and get a draft back and it'd be over. Yeah. Versus like back and forth with a, guy who I'm just like an item on his to-do list. So that kind of early on, I was like, oh, I just wish I could send this to so-and-so and then I would be done. But they didn't want to pay the...
Right.
Yeah. So there's that support, in that there's kind of a person for all the pieces that you need for an album release. So that was nice. The issue was like kind of with the second record, a lot of those people had changed and the leadership had changed. And so it was less of a, I don't know, fluid process. It was just, it was a little bit harder to get that together, and I don't know. So
that's so cool that you had the album recorded before. So were you like actively shopping it to labels?
Yeah, gosh, it's like almost hard for me to remember. Yeah, we were like, my lawyer was like sending it around, and my manager at the time had sent it, but there was someone who had just gotten hired there that had sort of been a long time supporter, or not supporter, just like I'd known them for a long time, and she was a really big fan of my second record. And so it was like, we need to take this meeting. And then they heard the record, and I don't know. I was in like the first crop of sort of a new branding of that label. And so seeing all the other people that were kind of hopping on, I was like, let's go. This is cool.
I think it's, I mean, and it could be the right thing again, depending on, I guess, the specifics that work for you. But now you have all this experience with it. So it's like great that.
I definitely need a break. I mean, I just sort of, I don't think that there's like a few labels in town that just really, it's the 80s, 90s label deal. Like, it's not a modern label deal. And some people are adapting to be able to do that, but there really wasn't a lot of wiggle room on some of the terms in the contract. And my lawyer told me, it's just like, this is like, these 4 labels, like, this is, even though they seem indie, it's pretty
much the same.
Pretty much the same. Yeah.
And then at that point, when you're funding, because I funded my album in the end too, and it's like, at that point when you're funding the whole thing, it's like, it almost doesn't make sense in my head. Yeah. I'm like, wait, I just made this and now it's yours. And I just like, I get stuck on it. So
yeah, someone said early on to me, like with I think it was in the context of publishing, that was like 100% of nothing is still nothing.
Yes.
Which is something to keep in mind, because it's like, know what you're trading in. Like, I knew what I was trading in, but I think I didn't know what it would feel like to trade that in. 100%. I like intellectually knew, like, oh, you own it. But I was like, but I'm getting these things. And when those things didn't feel like better, I guess, or those, I was just like, oh, wait, this deal doesn't feel ultimately that fair. So, but I wouldn't be able to know what that felt like until I was in it.
Yeah, now you know.
Yeah, so but I was in that, like, I mean, you're going to be precious about the things you make, like, but I was very much ready to, like, I just felt like I needed help. I was tired. Yeah.
So you got out of that deal, and then you started writing immediately and recording 2 months after?
Yeah. So I'd written most of these. I was like, I had a couple like of those, like, talking about spiritual, a couple of those nights where it just was like, one session kind of songs. But I called a friend, Peter Grunwald, who we'd written a lot with over the years, and he'd made a couple demos where I was like, dang, okay. And he just felt like a really safe place. And I knew, like, I wanted to get back into the studio, but I wasn't like super clear on what I was making, but I knew how I wanted to make it, and I knew I needed to be making something. So I kind of approached him, and then he brought in his friend Mark Campbell, and I just was like, guys, I've got all these songs. But here's like, I kind of was like, here's what I don't want to do. Like, here's what I do want it to feel like, of like just the process. Like, so much of this record was about the process of making it. Like, the end result is, I'm so deeply proud of it, but like getting there was so fun. Like, I just needed there to be a like really freeing, like playful, safe creative experience, and that's what I was really ready for. Now that that's why I was like, oh my gosh, I'm free. What do I want to do? Oh, I want to go in the studio and have fun, without any pressure. So that's really what I was ready for.
That's awesome. So it sounds like that was probably, well, you made the other record on your own, but it sounds like that was a really connected album process.
Yeah, it was the longest I've ever taken to make a record. I've always done the thing where you like go in for a week, 2 weeks, and then it's over. I've never not done that. And this was like on and off for a year plus.
But it still felt connected. That's so cool, because I feel like a lot of times I'll be collecting songs over the years. I'm like, does this fit here? And then it kind of feels a little disjointed for me. So that's really awesome.
I mean, one of the things that Mark, one of my co-producers, was talking about was whoever produced Caroline Polachek was talking about the album being like stars in the sky, and you're just like trying to make a constellation between them. So we would always talk about like, okay, we have these two feel like they're in conversation. These two feel like they're in conversation. This one's kind of standing on its own. So like, what can we do production wise to like connect it to the other thing? So that was a really fun thing. And like taking ownership as a producer, and like, I've always had I've never been given a producer credit on my full lengths, even though I'm a big part of the conversation, but being able to like wholeheartedly be in that conversation was really
That's awesome.
fun. And I think of why it's able to feel connected is because like my vision is in there too.
Yeah. So this album, it's called
Heart Go Wild.
Heart Go Wild.
Yeah.
What was the most recent single that you put out?
A song called Fun at Parties.
Fun at Parties. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's about how you're not going to be fun at parties.
Not feeling fun at parties.
I love that so much. I don't even go to parties anymore. So please tell me. Tell me what that is about.
I mean, I started writing it in 2020 for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did a lot of writing in the pandemic, like just at night. Just I felt like being in my 20s and being like too broke to go to the bars. I just stay in and write. And I was like, so that was a really nice season. And I just had that idea. I was listening to a lot of Muna at the time. So I think I just had like pop stuff in my brain. But yeah, it was ultimately about just like, yeah, it's how you're not going to be fun at parties because you're going through a hard time. And I think through all this like label turmoil towards the end, I had a lot of like shame about it because like the people there were being like weird to me, and I was like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with the thing I make? Where that wasn't what I needed to be looking at. But I had like a lot of kind of shame around my place in the industry, so I like didn't want to go out to like a bar and people be like, you're killing it, and I'm like, you know, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm killing it at all. It is killing me. Yeah, you know.
I relate to that so much.
And I mean,
at least you went out, or you didn't go. See, I don't even go.
I would have that feeling of like they just want to know how are you in like a fake way, but I'm not really good at. I'm just not good at that. Yeah, and I would try the like, you know, fluffy answer, and it would just make me feel false, and I didn't like that. So then I just kind of stopped for a minute. Yeah, sometimes you need to do that. Yeah, I was like, I don't need to be spilling my guts to this acquaintance that just asked me casually how I am in D's, but like that's what like my whole spirit wanted to do. Yeah,
but then it's like, then you know you don't want to be a downer.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like the truth. I don't know. I like when people tell me the truth. But I think as people, we don't want to put that on anyone else. Yeah. But I appreciate it because I go through my own shit all the time.
Yeah, I wrote that chorus being like, LOL. And then I didn't have the verses for a while. And it wasn't until I went through some like personal stuff, family stuff, all that I just talked about where I was like, yeah, I think I've got like the tone for this. And
I love that.
Yeah, it's just a fun one.
Yeah. And you had really cool visuals for that. Is that your friend that you were talking about?
Yeah, I worked with this company called Mossflower Pictures. Okay. And it's this one guy, Luke, and he does what he calls mini music videos, which is very of the times.
Yes. He must be busy.
Yeah. Oh my God. I feel like But yeah, we just made a few little worlds for each of these songs. And yeah, he had me like, I have to like bribe him to never release the raw footage. But he was like, can you dance around this room? And then he's like, just get as weird as you can. And then I'm going to layer it and make it all spooky. I was like, and then you're going to delete the footage? Yeah.
Because did he kind of like superimpose?
Yeah. It's like ghosty of like all those takes.
So was it a green screen?
No, it was just, I think it was all shot in that same kind of Victorian room, and he just sort of layered it together.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I told you when you first got here, I'm like trying to learn how to do certain video production on myself, but I don't for myself, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm trying here.
You're doing great.
But artistically, it's kind of simple.
Yeah.
I did want to talk to you about your writing process. You had mentioned, we've talked about it a couple times, like how it's a spiritual process for you, but you said something specifically in another podcast where you were like, you have to humble yourself and like really get quiet. And I was wondering if you could just share what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, that quote to me, I did The Artist's Way. And there was a quote in there that was like, the artist has to be humble because they're essentially a channel. And I just really loved that because I thought of those moments when I've sat down, and it's usually when I end up writing a song that's like really like almost like too true for comfort that I've felt like it just flows out. Just, you know, it's like it's done. I sung like 90% of it into the room. Yeah. So there's like a feeling of, and I don't know if humble is, I mean, that's I feel like that word is used not always correctly, but it's like to just sort of submit yourself to something greater or bigger than you. And it's not like I'm like you know, it's not like prayer or anything, but it's sort of like letting myself get into this place where I'm like really like a seeker for whatever question I'm trying to answer.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like there's something in you, because I feel this way, that stops you from your true voice coming out? Like the critic. I feel like sometimes I get into these modes where I really am unaffected by other people's opinions or anything, and I can really write from like my guts.
Yeah.
And it's offensive sometimes, or it's taboo, or it's usually taboo. That like my real voice is very taboo.
As it should be.
It is. And I'm always like, oh my God, like I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. And I've like lost boyfriends because of how feminist my music can be. Like and then sometimes I'll be in this other mode where I'm with co-writers and I'm kind of like on a team, and I'm like, I'll guide with you, but I'm not kind of like demanding that it be a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think trying to go in between those different ways of writing, sometimes I lose that like guts kind of. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's like you can't always be there because it's exhausting. It's usually like once you write that thing, you're like, oh God. Yeah. It's like after a big cry or something. It's like a relief, but it's also like heavy. So like, yeah, that's I think the humbling, those moments where it feels like it's flowing out, it is when whatever that critic in my brain has been quieted. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's easier to do that. I think sometimes co-writing can be helpful. Like right now, I feel like what that's doing for me is that critic is like, it's less likely to go in those rooms than it is right now. And I know I'll get back to that flow state, but I think it takes a lot of opportunity to sit down and the critic shows up, and you got to write in spite of sometimes. And then sometimes you have to be like, I'm not going to do that to myself today. Yeah. But yeah, I don't, that's definitely, I mean, I absolutely struggle with that. I have like a very perfectionistic brain. Yeah.
Do you have different versions of your artistry? Like songs that I'm asking you like everything I want to ask artists all the time.
Yeah, this is so interesting.
Do you have different versions? Because sometimes it sounds like you're very clear on who you are as an artist, which is amazing. And I feel like sometimes in co-writes especially, you can kind of put on a different writing voice, or like sometimes I play into the entertainment of it all, and I can be free in a writing room in a different way.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, oh, does this fit with that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or do you have a true north where you're like, this is me, and then when I'm writing with people,
that's a hard one, because you say artist as like, I'm assuming what you mean is like Caroline Spence, who puts out records.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not super clear on that sometimes.
I think I'm to hear you say
more super clear on like artist as in I am a creative person.
Okay.
And doing the artist way and thinking of like, oh, this is like the artist way. If you haven't done it, it's like basically it's meant for us, but also for people who like feel creative but like don't get to put creativity into practice. And so it's almost like teaching you to honor yourself as an artist, and talking about being creative as being like, you know, honoring the universe and honoring whatever the higher power is, and just artistry is this like really beautiful kind of way to live life. And that doesn't have to do with your work. You can still live an artist's life. And so I was like, I found that really freeing to me, because I was like, yes, my goal ultimately is to live an artistic life and a creative life. And that feels more important to me and more aligned with me than like living a life in pursuit of like a brand, or like who is that, because like who I really want her to be, or who I am, like is someone who just wants to be really creative. And I think it'll be like why I am and am not successful in certain rooms, because I want to do everything. I want to be able to like sing songs and be on stage, because that feels creative. I want to like write with people and help bring their vision. I want to be given an assignment to write a song for a specific scene in like film and TV. Like there's just, my brain is just like really hungry for that stuff ultimately.
I love that.
But I like it. I'm way more comfortable with the like pursuit of that feeling and process than I am with the pursuit of like some sort of like, I don't know, entertainment version of myself, I guess. And it's not like that's not important. Like, I understand there are hats I have to put on to like get this album out and whatever. But like, what makes me feel good and like aligned is like being in pursuit of just like
being creative.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I have The Artist's Way in that room.
Yeah.
But I need to revisit it. It's been like 10 years since I read it.
It's a good practice. I got really into it when I was off tour for a while. Now it's much harder to do the morning pages with a baby. But I was like, every time I did it, I felt so much better.
Yeah. I remember that another songwriter recommended it to me when I first moved to town, and it helped me a lot. So I need to revisit it. But yeah, I just feel like sometimes if I'm putting a record together, I'm like, I love these songs, but they feel like different people.
Yeah.
You know?
I used to feel really self-conscious about that, and I do still. Like, but I just am like, I don't know if that's a bad thing. Because if that's what you're doing naturally, you know, is that bad?
Yeah, no, I think it's like a me thing I have to get over.
I mean, it's a me thing too. I just like that Fun at Party song is like way more poppy than my usual stuff. And I had like a little mini crash out the night before to my husband of like, is it too poppy? Are people going to think that like I'm trying to do a thing? And my husband just goes, well, you need more up-tempo songs. I was like,
point taken.
Point taken. Thank you for the humbling in this moment.
I love that.
But it was like, I was like, yeah, I just sort of saw that lane and we tried to bring it into another lane to make it less what it wanted to be. And we're like, no, we have this type of song on this record that also has whatever, slow Americana.
It must be some like deep thing of being corrected along the way. Like that's why The Artist's Way is helpful, because it kind of takes those critics out of your head. And, well, that's good to know that I'm not alone in that.
I fight that same conversation, I think, with every record I've ever made, because it's always, I've been worried that it's like, this is my this song and this is my that song. But like, you know, that's just kind of how I write.
Yeah. So when you do a lot for film and TV, you'll get briefs and write that way, or do they ever just like randomly play something that's already?
Yeah. So it's been a mix. I feel like it's worked out more with just like my own stuff, because they'll be like, write this, like, what's the classic non-romantic love song, you know? And you're like, what does that even mean? So sometimes you're like writing in the abyss and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's a little bit of a mix. But I like that. There's something like it's my school project and I want to get an A, that like those like writing for briefs gives me energy. I like kind of like it. Because you're not like just like sitting scratching your head in the abyss of your own feelings. You're like, okay, let me kind of get into this world and write. So it's a mix of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we also mentioned you recently had a child.
I did.
How old is he now?
He is 7.5 months.
Okay. Yeah. And so congrats.
Thank you.
What's his name?
Casey.
Casey, that's so cute. Is that like his full name?
Casey Eli.
I had a girlfriend named Casey. That was her nickname. But I love Casey for a guy. That's so cute.
It's like the classic Casey.
Love that.
Irish.
Love that. So how because I know for every female artist especially, like it's always a big deal to have a child and work through all those emotions about your art, which was kind of the child for a long time.
Yeah.
So like how has that changed you, and how it seems like you've totally taken to it like a fish to water, and it's not been an issue, but like what has it felt like?
I feel like it's still so fresh. I'm figuring out what that is. Okay. But all I will say is that I've been sleeping through the night for the last few weeks, and that has made me a very different person. Yeah. Because those early days of not sleeping and the kid always needing to sleep on you during the day, the thing I struggled with, which I read like anyone, like high achieving women really can struggle in early motherhood because there's no like reward system or like outside person telling you you're doing a good job, or like my sense of productivity around my work, like I just had to throw it out the window because I'm like, I can't do anything else. Like I am the sun, moon, and stars for this little person, and I just sort of had to give into that for, I mean, it was probably like 4 solid months of like, I mean, we're planning this record, and I was really thankful we already had like, you know, visuals and stuff all like done. Yeah. But yeah, it's very very sudden transition of your time and your focus and the way that you're able to think about yourself in your own life. So I'm still very much in the kind of getting out of the weeds of being like, okay, what do I have time for? Because I'll find myself sort of hopping back into my like old set of demands or, you know, my high expectations of myself and my time. And I'm just falling short because I'm a different person with different, you know, energy and time. And so I feel like I'm in the process of realizing my old systems and my old ways of kind of like my old expectations are not working and they're not really positive, like those voices. And I think that those were like speaking of the critic, that critic, I don't think was like very helpful anyway. So I'm just having to really put it down. But yeah, it's like I can see what the shifts need to be, and we're in the process of kind of like figuring out how to make time for me to be in creativity outside of just like scheduled co-writes outside the house.
I mean, it sounds like you've been so productive in this time.
Well, I feel I appreciate you saying that. I almost don't trust my brain that wants to say like, well, no, because maybe I have been. I'm just like in a whirlwind.
Well, you do have a record coming out.
I do, but we made it like 2 years ago. So it's so the timing was good, kind of on accident. But
that is kind of perfect.
Yeah, the record was done. Most of the visuals, the photos, I mean, I was pregnant during a lot of that stuff, but we kind of had it all in the can so that there's only been like a couple things I've had to like kind of go out and do in regards to the record in early motherhood. So highly recommend getting that done and not being like, I'll definitely do a photo shoot postpartum. You're not going to really want to do that for a minute. Yeah, you might just want a minute.
I feel like if I ever have kids, I'm going to need like a therapist on call all the time because it's a big thing for me of like, there's a lot there that I need to kind of disassemble. But
there's no preparing for the disassembly. Like I thought I was like, oh, I've like freed myself of this, you know, old person that made music this way and therefore, and then it's like, oh, well, I just got a grasp of this person, this new person, and now she has a baby, so how do you even so it's all sorts of it's just a joining of a lot of identities that all feel a little fresh. But I do feel like it's going to add a not calmness, but like a necessary focus to the way I like, you know, what my idle mind does, like, you know, like I think about even like pregnant, like scrolling or whatever. And you're just like, I don't know, you're just thinking about other people a lot and thinking about yourself a lot. And there's time for that, obviously. But like, I really got to think about this kid more than anything else, you know?
Yes. I remember a co-write I had with a girl here that I think she has a couple kids. But her, like, she was so, I have 2 hours. That's all I have. I'm out of here. And she was gone. And we wrote an awesome song.
Yeah.
She was so efficient with her time. It was like, damn, I want to be like you.
You kind of have to be. Yeah. And I've like definitely like I'm like type A in certain corners of my career, but then I am absolutely like la out to lunch artist brain in a lot of other ways. And I'm really having to like kind of pull myself together when I'm like, oh, he's sleeping. Okay, I got like minimum 75 minutes or like minimum 45 minutes. Like, what am I going to do? I need to respond to this email. And it's also like sometimes you just have to be like, that didn't get done today. It couldn't have gotten done today. And I spent a lot of time like kind of beating myself up. And I'm still in the process of like trying to let that go. But it's such a different transition. Do
you like Brene Brown?
I've read some of her work.
One of the books that like really brought her to the mainstream. I think part of the first chapter or something was like going to bed with dishes in the sink or something where things are undone and that being okay. And I was like, what? You can think that way? So I think that mentality is probably really helpful. Regardless of.
There's a woman, Casey Davis, that wrote this. It's like a book called How to Keep House While Drowning. And it's like actually about keeping house, but like, but she has this thing that says half-ass is better than not done. And I'm like, okay, I'll like give myself permission. I'm like, I'm going to half-ass clean this kitchen right now. Or like,
Yeah.
I'm going to half-ass answer these text messages. Or like,
Yeah.
I'm really, because in my brain, I'm like, well, I won't do it until I can do it exactly right or perfectly. And then it just doesn't get done at this point in my life.
I need
so
that
I'm
book.
like,
I love that title.
Yeah. I listened to it on audiobook and I would be driving and be like, it was very validating because it's like, yeah, what I want is something to feel done. I don't actually want it to be perfect. I just want it to be in motion towards the goal.
Right.
And so I'm having to learn to settle more than I usually have with like the half-assness that I'm showing up for my artist career right now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do it full-heartedly in this way. Like I want to do it. I want to see my like vision for this album. Like I want to make sure I'm like have done all the things to get that vision into the world, but like I can't put my whole self into it because I have to like save some for my family and for myself and to make sure that like I'm being a little protective so that I can show up for that side of my life.
Yeah, and in that other podcast, it was the other 22 Hours podcast. If you don't know that, you should go check that out.
Great podcast.
Great podcast. Seriously great. Yeah, you were saying how like motherhood and your marriage has really brought a lot more to your life that has kind of taken the intense focus off the artist's career, like how it was your whole identity.
Yeah.
It sounded like now you have a more well-rounded identity, which sounds like a dream to me. I'm like, that sounds obviously like very mature and also like healthy, really healthy.
Yeah, I think it was like, I don't know. I think I just value a lot more about myself than just being good at singing and writing songs.
Yeah.
And I think in my little broken younger self, which we all come to this work looking for some sort of kind of hole to be filled or like love, whatever, like affirmation, all that. I think I just really had doubled down on like this being my gift and that's like who I am. And like, it is my gift. It is who I am. But like another gift I have is like being a really good friend or like being, I don't know, like just other things that I also value that like aren't easily consumed by my audience.
Yeah.
And also the push to like make everything about you consumable is really hard.
That was another thing I wanted to talk about. There's so much and sometimes this camera dies. I don't know why. It's brand new. But like the social media disconnect of like having it to be all about you. I mean, it's so uncomfortable, but it's like the necessary evil of promoting your work because literally unless you're running ads and you have a budget for that, your only option is to put yourself out there like every single day. And it is cringe.
It's so cringe, but you got to be cringe to be cool. It's fine.
You got to just stand in the cringe.
You just got to be cringe. But it's not even, for me, it's not even the cringe. It's like, I don't like perceiving myself, if that makes sense. Like, we're not supposed to know.
Oh my gosh.
What we look like this clearly, or like thinking about like, oh my God, how many chins do I have?
I didn't know how I looked until I was like in photo shoots and I was like, I need a nose job. That was my whole thing. Like, I need a nose job. Yeah. After that, now I'm like, whatever.
I'm not like after the pandemic, I was like, supposed to go do these like 3 music videos in like 2 days. And I like crippled myself basically in preparation of like realizing I was going to have to be perceived after like 2 years of just like floating around the world. And I was just like, oh my God, I have a body that like someone's going to look at and I have to sing and like the way I look when I sing and my mouth and my jaw and my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my therapist literally was like, well, you know, based on your history, you probably do have like maybe the worst job for someone with like your particular set of whatever. And so like that, I really hate that part of my job. But it's a necessary evil and other people don't hate it. Like people don't hate perceiving me. I just hate doing it. And I'm not like the target audience, but it takes so much energy and like mental gymnastics.
Just getting there.
Oh
my God.
And then like receiving the video and not being like a total ass to myself, you know? Like I almost would rather be like, don't show it to me.
Yeah.
Like just put it out.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
I know.
It's so hard.
I hired this guy to do an hour shoot, and I told him I have so much resistance to this. I need people to know that because I feel like I want to be like real online, but it's hard because you're like putting yourself out there so much. It's like, okay, you all think I'm like completely narcissist. Like, even just getting to the shoot, my best friends from home, they're like, oh my God, those shoots look amazing. I'm like, I treat it like it's a freaking movie shoot that someone has paid me $1 million to do because I'm so self-conscious about it. But then like the last shoot I did, it was like nothing of a budget. I just ran out there, did my own makeup. Doing my own makeup was scary. I did it and I was like, oh my God, that was all in my head. Like
it's just totally all in our heads.
Did it and it was fine.
It's not our fault that we're in our heads this way. It's like literally what culture is right now. But it's really, I find it really stifling. And then I think going through these times where I was in like extra sort of like shame struggle spirals, like that fun at parties energy, it made it even harder to just like share of myself. Cause I was like, how can I be honest and how can I like physically show up when I'm just in this place where I'm like so like afraid of judgment, or I'm like so in judgment of myself. So I like really retreated, but I was so envious of my friends that could just like post their lunch, or it was just like I couldn't even do that because I was in such like, who am I supposed to be acting like? And I still can't figure out a place where it feels natural, I guess is really what it is, because you do have to like curate it to some degree. And I think when I get in that space of like trying to curate, that's when it gives me the ick, and then I just stop. But then I'm like, frick, this is my job.
I literally just posted this yesterday of like, I'm just going to make this a routine, just FYI to everyone watching here.
That's what I'm doing too.
I want to post it looking bad. Like I want to look bad just as an exercise.
I've posted a couple because TikTok as a thing, whatever, it feels way more like you're just throwing stuff. And I'm like, I'm into that. Me too. I'm like, it's not whatever. But I posted like I have a song called Soft Animal, and my son has this book that has like a bunch of textures on it. And I was just like, had the music in the background. I was just like showing this like kids book, and it was like, here's my song. I don't have any time for new content. Please enjoy. And that. Like I'm like, okay, and I'm still in my pajamas, my hair is whatever. And I was like, you know what, I think maybe if that's gonna get me to post, then I'm just gonna be doing stuff like that. Because then you can
at least get in the rhythm of it, I feel like, and it's hard to keep it up, because I've said this to myself before, but I do feel like at least then you're showing up, and then maybe eventually you can show up and marry that with like more creativity that inspires you.
Well, it's like the half-ass versus perfect. So I'm kind of like half-ass showing up on social media.
I love that.
But I'm trying to do it consistently because I know it is like a numbers thing. Like there's something where it's like it takes 7 impressions for someone to take action.
Yeah.
So like when you're in a record cycle, like you do have to be posting. And I also try to remember like I'm not posting for my peers.
Yeah.
Like if they get annoyed at me, like whatever, dude, I get annoyed at you. This is what we have to do. Yeah, like, you're not my target audience. Like, I'm trying to reach, like, Jane in Chicago that bought $200 of merch last time I saw her. You know what I mean? Like, you're not my audience. You're my peer. So I think trying to get that critic out of the way, too, is really hard. Especially when we live in this town where everyone's like, oh, I love the videos you've been posting. And you're like, oh, you saw those? Okay.
Yeah. And TikTok will, like, send you... Like, your contact so-and-so just posted. Like, I'm like, oh my God, they're getting emails about me. This is awful.
Yeah, it's all so cringe and so weird. And we're all just doing in spite of, but like, I
you're so right. That's so good to remember. You're not my target. Because you have certain people following you and you're like, I don't want to embarrass myself. But anyway, so yeah, maybe we'll both just post cringy and whatever.
Oh, yeah, get ready for the cringe.
We were talking about motherhood and songwriting. Someone who has like nailed both is Laura McKenna, who you have written with.
Yeah.
And
hero.
Is she like one of your heroes? Yeah.
100%. I've loved her since I was like 15 years old. Fully would not even know this was like a career path if I hadn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you've written with her, right? Mm-hmm. And how did that come about?
Okay, so I was with my publisher for a while, and I think she just started being with him, and so it was a little bit more in the realm of possibility. And she also, I feel like we connected on social media or something.
Mhm.
Her longtime guitar player, Mark Corelli, is like another singer-songwriter that I know. So it was just like, she knew who I was, but I was going to be on tour in Boston. And I had a day off. And so I hit my publisher up to be like, can we try to make this happen? And so I like went to her house and sat at her dining table and we wrote and, yeah, no, it just was wild. I mean, like fully, I'm like, I met her and I toured with Mary Chapin Carpenter and that's what I wanted to do when I grew up.
Bucket list.
Yeah,
Success.
I know. It's like when I really think about it, I'm like, I actually did everything my teenage self wanted to do.
That's amazing.
So then that's like when I'm being a jerk to myself, I'm like,
girl, you're good.
Girl, I did it. Like I really did. I did it.
That's amazing. So, I don't feel that yet, but I mean, it's in certain ways, but not like the big ones.
Yeah.
Not like bigger things, but hopefully that'll come. But I think that must be a good feeling to be like.
It is a good feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like not the answer to all your problems to like have these like, I played here, I met this person, I did that.
See, I want to know that feeling. Yeah. People talk about that a lot. And I want to know that well. Like, I want to know the feeling of like, oh, it wasn't everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know, because people talk about it. And it is like, it is, I'll say like, it is everything, but it's also like not, it's not the mountaintop, I guess. But it feels like I'm like, okay, it's almost was valid. Like that was validating in that like, I am in pursuit of the thing that I think I'm actually like in pursuit of. Like I'm writing well enough that Laura McKenna's like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. You know? And so it's just like, it's those little moments of validation, which like we all get along the way. Yeah. But it's sort of like, it's just another piece of that.
I totally feel that. I think for me, it's like the little like, oh, my circle is a little bit different. Like these people who I idolize are actually like not on my level necessarily, but they're in my world more, or I'm interacting with them.
Well, it's those signs of like, I'm in pursuit and like I'm doing the thing I thought I was doing and I'm building the life I thought I was building. Yeah. And it's more like not like a validation of like your goodness, but like a validation of like, oh, I'm doing the thing on the right track. Exactly.
Yeah. I saw you're also touring with Alone Below.
I am.
And when does that start?
November.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Are you bringing your son with you, or are you going to be away?
He'll be at home. Okay. His dad's at home. We have a grandmother that'll come into town. And I was like, touring takes a lot of energy. Yeah. Already. I was like, I would rather not do that. And also he has his own little life. Yeah. So we're going to leave him. Yeah.
That's so exciting. So your album.
Heart Go Wild.
Okay. And then your tour with Lone Below. Are you guys doing all US dates?
I'm just on the like northeast, southeast part.
Well, so where can everybody find you? Our cameras are still on. This is crazy. This like never happens. Like you're a good luck charm. So yeah, where can everybody find you who's not following you?
You can find me at my house putting my son down for a nap. Just kidding.
Where can everyone find the cringe?
You can find my very cool cringe at Caroline Spence. I think it has like a hyphen. I don't know. Okay. You'll find me. I look a little bit like this. It died.
Here we go. Was that perfect timing?
Yeah. Then they'll never know how to find me.
I think they got the Caroline Spence. Wait, let me just. It's gonna.
That's so good.
That is so funny. So that means it was like right at 50 minutes.
Amazing. Yeah, you're like, gotta go. My Uber's here. My camera died. Oh.
It's honestly annoying because it makes editing impossible.
Oh no!
It's so annoying. I'm literally gonna say okay. So wait, so you're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
Your website is
CarolineSpenceMusic.com.
CarolineSpenceMusic.com. Okay, and I went there, and you can learn a lot about her there. Including that she's open for some pretty amazing people. And also, if you haven't heard her song Slow Dancer, that's what I wanted to mention. That was like the song that made me a super fan. Like, it's such a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Has anyone cut that song other than you?
That would be a dream. Yeah.
I just am obsessed.
It's my favorite song to sing.
Is it really?
It kind of is. Yeah.
It is like.
It's like a comfort one. Like when I'm feeling antsy, I start with that one because it just feels, I love being in that song.
Everything it's about. Is it about your husband?
Weirdly, it was written like a few weeks before our first date. because I was like, I had that idea. It had nothing to kind of do with him, but that was sort of the energy that I wrote it with my friend Stephanie Lambring. And it was this feeling of like, oh shit, if I go on this date, I think I'm done for. Kind of like.
You already knew?
Well, I just was like, I'd known him for a minute and it was just like single at the same time. But I just had this feeling like if I go on this date, I think I'm going to have a crush on you, and I don't know what to do about that because I've like kind of always had a crush on you. So it felt like that song is sort of about that hesitation and that like permission to fall kind of thing. So, yeah.
So were you seeing other people or something? And then you finally... Yeah. Wow, that's so cool. I mean, it's just a gorgeous song. If you haven't heard it, you need to hear it. I'm like, could that be my wedding song or something? I just am obsessed with that song. It's so good.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
And go check out her new album. Yeah.
Aww,
that's a wrap.
Yay.
Cameras made it.
There's like a million things to talk about.
I know. In my